Nuestra Familia would develop inside the California prison system in the 1960s. It was developed in direct opposition to the Southern Hispanics, better known in the prison system as the Mexican Mafia. The Nuestra Familia and its members viewed the Southern Hispanics and the Mexican Mafia as their oppressors. Over the decades, the gang has developed from a once synchronized unit just used for protection and betterment to now what it is viewed as today as a complete and total criminal organization, which has made inroads in numerous cities, states, and even multiple countries.
A Spokane County judge dealt a blow to a prison gang operating in eastern Washington. The three men from Spokane, Moses Lake, and Yakima helped run the national La Nuestra Familia prison gang. Court documents reveal they played a key role in recruiting young people into the gang, encouraging them to commit violent crimes with the promise of better conditions in prison. The men face between 6 and 10 years in prison for crimes, including money laundering and assault.
Even though they are locked up, the NF leaders control the money and make life and death decisions to keep the whole structure running smoothly.
I was in charge of orchestrating hits, who would go do them, who was deemed no good, who was a threat out there. And because of my activities out there of, causing violence directly or indirectly, landed me in the shoe.
The shoe.
TVO gang, TVO gang, and the Dreamer local. When I die, just want you to get high, drink up some fucking piece of red PVO gang. Talk my name all over the walls, talk my name all over the walls. When I die, don't want you to cry. Drink up some put and drink up some pistol. I don't give a fuck. I'm representing for the hood till the day I die. That's one thing for sure. Ain't no motherfucking fake. I'm on flaws, cause I ain't no motherfucking fake. That's one thing for sure, cause I rap PVO till the day I'm deceased.
All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Hope y'all having a blessed day. Okay, so as you can tell from the intro, we're going to be talking about some Norteno gang members out of eastern Washington State, which seems to be a very active place. We've definitely covered Yakima before. These three individuals were out of Yakima, Washington, Spokane, Washington, and Moses Lake, Washington. Their names, Yasanir Amazuca da Silva. God, I know I'm going to say that wrong. Jesus Antonio Mireles and Thomas Lee Weatherwax. Seems like our only white boy in this particular case. But these guys were each leaders of their particular sets in their particular city, whether that be Yakima, Spokane, or Moses Lake. And they were basically pushing a hard line, right? The Nuestra Familia is the 14 bonds, which is this code of conduct that every Norteno is expected to follow. And when you're at this street level, you're able to recruit new, younger, basically juvenile members, and they can start weeding them out. Okay, so who's got heart? Who's going to be able to do what we ask and going to be able to handle the tasks and these violent beliefs and this violent, very strict structure that we follow, and who's not going to be able to handle it, right? They're going to be able to weed people out because it starts at this level. The Nuestra Familia, their leaders, they're all in supermax lockdowns. Most of them are in California. You've got a few that are in ADX, Florence, Colorado. But the way that this gang survives and thrives is at the street level. The same could be said for the Mexican Mafia. Yes, the leaders, the rules are being made within prison walls, but how these gangs thrive and grow and make inroads into certain communities and states and cities is at the street level. And that's what these three individuals who were just convicted and sentenced to federal prison time were absolutely helping with. This is an article basically referring to the Eastern District of Washington State that was released on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, in reference to these three individuals. We're going to be reading from that. We're going to talk a little bit more about the case, and then, we're going to wrap it up. Spokane, Washington. Chief United States District Judge Stanley A. Bastian has handed down sentences to three local gang leaders for their roles in facilitating the criminal activities of a national prison gang called La Nuestra Familia, or the NF. Chief Judge Bastian sentenced Yasanir da Silva of Moses Lake, Washington, to 120 months in federal prison on gun charges. Jesus Mireles of Yakima, Washington, to 83 months in federal prison time on gun charges, and Thomas Lee Weatherwax of Spokane, Washington, to 75 months in federal prison on money laundering and drug conspiracy charges, to be served after Weatherwax completes his current state prison sentence for assault in the first degree with a deadly weapon. So Weatherwax probably got a decent bid he's doing in Washington State somewhere at a state prison level. Then he's going to have to go to the feds to serve this time. And this is that gang life, man. You want to be a gangbanger. You want to be a leader of one of these sets, of one of these Norteno sets. it comes with this. Each defendant will also be on a federal supervised relief for several years release after serving his custodial sentence. Evidence showed the NF is attempting to make a targeted push to bring their, quote, hardcore principles and teachings to Washington state. Nuestra Familia doctrine dates back to the late 60s and is encapsulated in multiple written documents to include their own constitution. The rules of this criminal organization are mandatory and non-negotiable. NF leadership asserts they are engaged in this struggle for the betterment of Norteños, styled as La Casa, or the NF movement. Many individuals who have left the gang stated that La Casa is a ruse, as it's just about making money to perpetuate the criminal organization, which does not hesitate to use violence to achieve their objectives. This persistent prison gang is purposely targeting minors to recruit into the gang and then indoctrinate them into their myopic way of life. These children are taught that if they are worthy Norteños, they will commit crimes and will end up in prison. So they need to follow the NF rules to be in, quote, good standing, to comfortably serve their inevitable prison sentence. To advance further, these children will, quote, owe a body to advance their lifelong careers. Really hear what I just said. And honestly, I have two words. If I was a parent, I would be mad. And if I'm reading this as someone in the community, if I lived in Washington State, if I was somebody who had young children or teenagers who were coming up in this, I would be truly, this is kind of like worry. This is stuff that keeps people up at night who have children. And that's what it just said right there. Their goal is to take your kids, teach them their ways of gang life, manipulate their brains, their mind, test them, make them feel like they need to be worthy to live up to this cause with the sole goal of going to prison to furtherance this gang and this, quote, belief system that we just heard people who dropped out said it's bullshit. It's all about money, and it's all going to end up in stabbing each other in the back and killing each other. Yasanir Amazuca da Silva, his gang name was Serio. Da Silva is a leader of the Moses Lake Norteño set, Pancha Villa Locos. In this leadership role, he passed along the radical teachings of NF and the importance of Norteño adherence to NF 14 bonds, which is NF's mandatory code of conduct for Norteños. He was also named the, quote, channel for Grant County by NF leadership, a highly prestigious position within NF's hierarchy. As the channel, Da Silva oversaw Norteño and NF interests over all the Norteño sets in his geographic area. He also facilitated any activities necessary to ensure the success of the continuation of the NF criminal enterprise, including moving money, hosting gang meetings, discussing matters of common interest with other Norteño sets, passing along messages to the street, and participating in NF internal investigations into misconduct that his actions taken counter to the gang's interests. Incarcerated Norteños would also reach out to Da Silva to pass along messages of Norteño importance, which would include directing activities into the streets. In Da Silva's case, this included assisting in the issuance of a, quote, kill-on-sight order for an individual some members of NF believed to be an informant. Da Silva was deeply vested in the continuation of the Norteño way of life. He ran Norteño interests in Green Hill School, a juvenile detention facility that has become a, quote, training ground for the next generation of Norteño gang members, whom the gang has indoctrinated into hardcore NF doctrines. Multiple witnesses identified the Green Hill School as, quote, gladiator school because of its large population of Soreño gang members, the sworn enemies of Norteños. That's crazy, man. Jesus Antonio Mireles, I put some of his pictures up. He's the one holding the gun. He's the one leaned back on the truck bed, all tatted up. Mireles was previously sentenced in federal court for his unlawful possession of 2 firearms and high-capacity magazines in 2022. Notably, one of the firearms Mireles pled guilty to possessing in 2022 was linked by the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, a national database that stores digital images of ballistic evidence, including fired bullets to 6 separate shooting scenes in the Yakima Valley in 2022. So that was a hot piece, man. During the sentencing process in his 2022 case, he promised the court he would not squander the opportunity to change his life. However, once he served his 2022 sentence and was released on federal supervision, Mireles didn't even miss a beat. Continued his criminal conduct without pause. Only 4 months after being sentenced and promising change, he leaned into his radicalization of his Yakima area Norteño gang set, LR, or better known as La Raza, and aligned them with the hardcore doctrine of NF. He was also appointed to a leadership position in LR as the official, quote, channel. His penchant for victimizing the community also conducted a few months later. As the official channel, his penchant for victimizing the community also conducted, and, quote, a few months later, he was drunk and mistook a random citizen as a Soreño and attempted to harm the citizen and follow the citizen into his residence. When he was rebuffed, he shot several rounds into the direction of the citizen's residence. About a month later, Mireles did the same thing again, resulting in a drive-by shooting that ended him crashing his car. Both times, Mireles ran from the police and threw away his firearms in locations where children could potentially find them, further endangering the community. He also assisted NF members with paying their mandatory NF taxes on profits of their illicit ventures. He even enlisted his mother, Melissa Mireles, to get word to the streets after his arrest about who believed the informant in the case was. Wow. Making sure that that individual would be killed. And lastly, looks like we got the white boy here, Thomas Lee Weatherwax, a.k.a. Wax. While serving a 57-year state sentence for assault in the first degree with a deadly weapon, wherein he fired multiple rounds at multiple individuals he mistook for Sureños. God, these guys, that's a little frustrating. Going away for a long time over guys that aren't even the rivals. Weatherwax continued to engage in criminal activity while inside the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. Weatherwax, a member of the Spokane area Norteno gang set Red Boys, chose to further his Norteno career by engaging in a scheme to smuggle drugs into the WSP to sell to other inmates and then to launder those drug proceeds. Weatherwax kept meticulous records of his inventory, his profits, and the, quote, tax payments that were made to NF. As a result of his conduct and being a good soldier for the NF cause, he was promoted by NF leadership to a position of authority in 2023 as a member of the NF Regimental Security Department Council at the WSP. Quote, the RSD. In that role, Weatherwax was one of 3 Norteno inmates in charge of overseeing NF interests and the success of the NF movement in all Washington Department of Correction facilities. Wow. So they're definitely pushing that in Washington State. Weatherwax was appointed as the, quote, head of finance department, as explained by NF leadership in his leadership role. Weatherwax oversaw, quote, day-to-day tasks within the WSP, again, that's Washington State Penitentiary, as well as managing overall responsibilities over all Nortenos inside Washington's DOC programs. Like a first-line supervisor in a mainstream business, Weatherwax managed his team, Nortenos, in the Delta Wing at WSP, and reported the team's work to his NF supervisor. That's crazy, man. Was in control of all controlled substance present in WSP to distribute to other inmates, as well as for accounting on the money owed to NF. Yeah, man. A lot of messages. So what are my takeaways from this? These guys are going to do what they want. And when I say these guys, I don't mean the 3 individuals. I mean, yeah, they're going to do what they want too, but I'm talking about the big dogs, Nuestra Familia. They're going to make inroads where they want to make inroads. And yeah, these 3 guys were down. They had respect. Nothing against them, obviously. But what I would say to that is the minute these guys go down, there's somebody to step right up into their position to continue what the Nuestra Familia's goals are. My other takeaway is this. I've said it about these street gangs. I don't have an opinion really one way or the other. I just tell a story. Although it is kind of hard to read some stuff about purposely you're going after juveniles to indoctrinate them into a certain belief. Don't love that. But again, it's just what it is, man. The guys I know involved in gang life, whether that be white, black, Hispanic, they all started as well before the age of 18. It's just what it is. But fascinating, very interesting story. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace.